This MFL MarMac Coach Conversation brought to you by Havlicek Trucking, Meyer Auto Service, and Birdnow Chevrolet. We're with head coach Dan Anderson last week. A 35 to nothing win over Central Springs to round out the regular season. Coach, we talked about it last week. It was a game where you were going to be the 2 seed no matter what happened last week. It looked like you just went out and had some fun playing football. Fair way to put it.
It is. It is. And everybody on the sidelines got in. All our freshmen and sophomores played some considerable minutes. So, they spent a lot of time in practice. Our scout team, I thought, did a really good job last week of getting our guys prepared. Now, when you're playing against a team that runs a similar offense, it makes it easier for your scout team. But I thought they did a really nice job, and they take a lot of pride in what they do. Not everybody's going to be a starter, and sometimes you have to wait your turn. But some of those younger kids, and maybe some of those sophomores and juniors that aren't starters, they do give a great effort. That's what you need. You need a good scout team, and those guys did that, and then they were rewarded on Friday night, getting a lot of playing time. And I thought our varsity, starters, took care of business like they needed to. Our defense played extremely well. I'm really pleased with how they're playing. The last few weeks here, we aren't giving up very many points, and they're really playing with a lot of enthusiasm. So yeah, I was just pleased with the overall effort, and hopefully it's a springboard into the playoffs this week.
And obviously, there's work to be done this week, bigger goals than just getting to this ninth game. But did you allow yourself a moment or two just to appreciate the fact that you're once again in the playoffs?
For sure, we did. And I told the kids that. I said, after the game, there's always things we can clean up, but I was extremely proud of. They should be proud of themselves, and I hopefully that we've given our community something to be proud of again this year. It's 6 years in a row we've been a district champ or a district runner-up. It's always new kids. We graduated 7 all-staters from last year's team, and 9 out of 11 defensive guys graduated. And so I'm just really pleased with the way that defense is playing. With all those new guys, a lot of first-year starters, but I think it was like Aristotle that said, the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. And I really feel that's how our defense is. Our defense doesn't have any, maybe outstanding individuals. We've got a few that are, good football players, and they're all good football players. But you know what I mean? They together they play just so good as a unit, and keep teams off the scoreboard, and they rally around each other. And and those our defensive kids, if they get off the bus, some of those kids aren't going to necessarily intimidate guys from another school. They're not huge, but they fast, and they're aggressive, and they play their position well. And so, I told the kids I was extremely proud of where they're at. 6-2, is a great regular season, and especially considering the losses we took to graduation. And these kids are just continuing to play well. So.
And this week, you got the Elburnett Pirates coming to town. What have you been able to figure out about Elburnett? I'm imagine you've watched a little bit of film over the last few days.
Oh yeah, lots of film. Never a shortage of watching film by myself and the coaches. But so Elburnett, they're 5-3, and they've lost to some really good opponents. They lost to Grundy Center, and they lost to South Hardin, Grundy's ranked #1, and I think South Hardin's ranked 5 in the state right now. And then they lost to a North Lynn team, first game of the year, in a real close game. So they beat Beckman, so they're pretty solid. Beckman's a #2 seed out of another district, so they beat them, and they're pretty balanced. They throw the ball well, and they run the ball well. They've got a running back, Caves, who's a sophomore. Older brother was a good player for him a couple years ago. He's rushed for almost 1,100 yards, and quarterback's thrown for 1,100 yards. So they're pretty balanced overall. They're fast all over the field. Their linemen are not extremely big. Most of them are 190 to 215, but they're very athletic and do a good job of staying on their blocks. And they've got a really good defensive end in number 55, who he's near the top of the state in sacks. And so they've got a lot of speed, a lot of youth. It's going to be a big challenge.
When you have a playoff game and you get one at home, with the way the playoffs are nowadays, first round matchups, the bus rides are going to be an hour and a half, 2 hours, often 2+ hours. How big of a deal is it to get to play a playoff game in a setting you're very familiar with?
Yeah, we love playing at home. We got great fans, and our student section's always great at home, and they travel well too. But like you said, if you got to go 2 hours, which is pretty typical, 2+ hours when it comes to the playoffs, it's great to play at home on your home field, familiar. The kids, we got a routine. We stick to it, and I feel like we've got a really good, preparation, just a plan before the game and pregame stuff that you never know what you're going to get when you go on the road. Sometimes you have to dress one place and take a bus over to the field somewhere else. And when it's unfamiliar, sometimes you just get out of your routine. Things happen faster or slower. We just know what to expect. So yeah, it's great. Playing at home, at least one more game. And it probably will be one as the 2 seed. We'll probably have to go on the road as long as we win this Friday, and that's going to be a big task. But yeah, it's great to play at home in front of great fans and great student section.
All right, Coach, hopefully you can get the job done this week, and we can have another conversation next week. Keep you guys healthy. We wish best of luck Friday night against Elburnett.
All right. Thanks a lot, Darren.
Dan Anderson, head coach of the Bulldogs, brought to you by Havlicek Trucking, Meyer Auto Service, and Birdnow Chevrolet.